Of course, as a government, we have a big budget, and we all know that Kenyans want development. You support the development with the service fees that you are collecting, with the revenue that you are collecting. And if we lose revenue at this level, then it means by the time we come to budgeting, then there is no revenue to match the development that you have planned. And therefore, we have agreed with our officers, generally countrywide, the land officers with my principal secretary, that we must work together with our officers to seal all the loopholes that make the government or Kenyans to lose money that is due to them. You see, Kenyans are paying. They are also willing to pay for commensurate service. But if I'm going to lose stamp duty before it reaches the next level, then it means we are losing very useful money. And sometimes it's because either our officers are working together with the people who are supposed to pay. Basically, that's the only way you can lose stamp duty. I'm monitoring the transactions. For me to know whether we are losing stamp duty, I must monitor and do, evaluation of the transactions. Even know how many transactions are coming to every registry per day. And are we ensuring that every transaction that has a fee has been paid for? In Kiambu, stamp duty is 4% of the, not necessarily of the purchase price, of the value of that property. Are we getting 4% of the value of all the transactions that are for transfer? So that exercise requires sometimes close attention, and that's why I'm out. And I'm going to do that in most likely all the registries. But you see here where we are in Ruiru, Kiambu, Nairobi, Machakos, Mombasa, Kisumu, Eldoret, Nakuru, Thika, Naivasha, Kajiado, and Ngong. All those are very critical registries because they are huge. They are big in stamp duty, in revenue generation. So I will obviously then be quite a lot around, and therefore that's why I'm here. Our revenue target is about 15 billion. Chief Land Registrar, 15 billion, but I wanted to double it. I believe there is the opportunity to double it if we seal the loopholes. So with this monitoring and close evaluation and supervision, because you could even call it supervision, I'm interrogating the documents that, because in land office, there is the process of documentation can tell you how many documents have come. Like now here, the valuation, we have made sure the valuation is online. You apply for your transaction to be valued online. That means the application is received. It's handled at that stage by the valuer. All valuers within my state department are under the chief land valuer. And obviously, we all know, basically, if you look at a transaction and the amount stated, like I can tell you, I was going through the transactions and amount stated by the owners. Because when you bring the document, first we ask you to declare the value yourself. Then you bring for verification and actual valuation by the valuer. Stating a document to be self-declaring 1 million, for example. And when my valuer looks at it, returns 5 million. Others are saying this document, the valuation that I'm declaring is 120,000. Then that document turns to be 3.5 million Kenya shillings. So if we have reckless valuers or valuers who will be compromised, they can easily go with the valuation stated by the owner of the transaction, owner of the property. So you see, I'm happy to say that what I have found is fairly satisfactory, but there are gaps that I have seen that we have to work on. But also Kenyans don't want to pay taxes, even when maybe you are going to sell a property. You see, when you are selling, the stamp duty is not payable by the seller actually. Maybe I should correct that one. It is payable by the by the buyer. The purchaser pays 4%. Within Kiambu, it's 4% of the, not necessarily of the purchase price, but of the value that we come up with as valuers within the State Department. So Kenyans don't like paying, and I want to appeal to Kenyans to pay what is lawfully supposed to be paid. As of course we have already agreed as Kenyans, we must also ensure that every shilling that we collect as a government is properly utilized to give efficient, timely and good service to Kenyans. When we, for example, now say we have digitized or we are doing online application, for example, of valuation, being the first, if you are coming to sell or to buy a land, and you know you must do valuation, and the form is signed by you, and then you declare the value. That form now you can access online. You can access that service and pay for it online. That saves you time. It shows or reflects on efficiency and timely return even of the revenue. Because when we deliver efficient service, we'll make Kenyans happy, we'll encourage Kenyans, but we'll also be able to proceed to the next level, because I may be buying a property for construction, for development. So I'm investing in it, which then means you will proceed as a Kenyan, then the owner of the property, to go and start your investment. We come with some provisional measures. You can see we have like a container, which is in terms of security it is good, but in terms of a working space it's not necessarily very, very conducive. All our registries are now small because the expected maybe titling that they were to hold, it has now tripled. You know, we are also subdividing parcels. The more you subdivide, the more registers you create, the more parcels you create, and therefore space that was for 1970 becomes more. Of course, I'm here with the Mheshimiwa Kingara. Huyu mtu anakaanga kwa mashinani sana. Even when I came last, he's one of the people who had pushed me to come to this register. The final solution would be for us to come up with a different space, because this space is small. Kiambu had the same, we were with you there. Kiambu has the same problem. And I think, and that's why we must also collect revenue properly to be able to expand the spaces where we are working. Kiambu requires further office space and storage. Custody of the titling or titles requires to be in safer and better place than we have. And but we are not saying this is not stopping our work, but it makes sometimes work difficult. And that's why when we also visit at my level, because as then the cabinet secretary, the policy maker, the one who will look at the budget, then I know where to allocate appropriately necessary budget, and so that you also are budgeting with the needs of the specific registries in mind. The government is friendly to the citizens, and that service is being delivered properly to citizens. Timely, efficient service, non-free corruption area or office, completely free, corruption-free zone, May I capture that properly? Corruption-free zone. If you look at the work you do, among other sensitive works for government, I think land maybe is priority number one. It must be ranking very high. And of course, we are being rated as some of the places where we need to deal with. I'm going to look at the figures in relation to the transactions. We cannot run government without revenue. And we cannot continue allowing government revenue, to disappear in small pockets of people. Because we need all this money in one basket. I'm looking at the facilities we have here. For sure, there is a lot that we need to do to improve our working environment, correct? I can see our records, how we really are constrained, completely constrained. I think the first thing I'll do is possibly to ensure wherever chief and myself and my peers, wherever we get a container for immediate, storage of what is outside there, while we think about the extra space that we need to build. We will also think we have to seal the loopholes.